Alright, I'm back with another great tutorial. Let's do some of the things that we need to know to do. Our character is hungry and very thirsty. I don't remember which rack is supposed to hold our food, so I'm going to hit capital Y. That's going to bring up our zones manager. Food, drink, it's on that tile right there. Now we don't have to pick up the food and drink to eat and drink it. So just like a lot of our other keys that look at the character's inventory, what's at their feet, and what's in the surrounding tiles, it's the same thing with eating. Now, in order to eat or drink something, or use medicine, which is important to know, the proper way to use medicine, as weird as it sounds, is to use the capital E, basically eat menu, and we consume medicine that way. But we'll cover that later. Right now, the only food and drink that we have is we've managed to scavenge together 10 clean water and a bunch of cheap wine, some Pilsners, all these protein rations. Now, the evac shelter contains a giant hoard of food. This is giving us our calorie count. It has 400 calories per protein ration. It's pretty darn good, actually. The problem with it is, one, it makes us thirsty. You find that information under the quench value. And then the other problem with it is that it reduces our joy. That might seem strange. You notice that the potato chips give us joy. And so does the cheap wine and the vermouth and everything just makes us happy. Eating these protein rations doesn't, and I think it's worth looking at why. I'm going to hit the E to examine, which is a context key we can hit in almost any menu. It's going to tell us about these protein rations. Soy Palooza ran a highly successful crowdfunding campaign for their signature protein bar. Oh, look at this. We've got some runoff in the window. That's unfortunate. They dubbed it something. Oh, darn. Look at this. This is not gonna... We're not going to be able to read this properly. Yeah, I hate that. Oh, well, what it's basically telling us is that it was a big success, except the product is almost inedible. You know, it tastes terrible. Eating it just makes us unhappy and thirsty. But anyway, we're going to have to eat and drink. So let's avoid the protein rations for now. And we'll just knock back, well, even the potato chips and stuff's going to make us hungry. But thirsty. Let's go ahead and eat the potato chips that we've got. We'll eat one of these powdered candies and some salted popcorn. Now, we're probably thirstier than we were before. We're no longer hungry, but now we're very thirsty. Capital E to eat. Let's knock back one sip of this cheap wine. And then let's drink the rest in water. And I just keep tapping enter, and we keep drinking the water. Alright, now we're full. So our character's gone from hungry and thirsty to satisfied and turgid. Alright, what does turgid mean? Not a word I was familiar with before I started playing this game. Hydrated is when you've had enough. Turgid is when you've drank too much fluids. And so it's that feeling you get. I don't know if you ever did this when you were a kid. You stick your mouth over the garden hose that you normally use to water the lawn or whatever. And you just force a lot of liquids down in your stomach trying to get that full feeling. And lo and behold, you become turgid or a little bit overly hydrated. It's worth knowing that the process of becoming less thirsty and less hungry is not always instantaneous, and also drinking things will fill your stomach. So if you have the very hungry status and you drink a lot of liquids, it's going to tell you that your stomach's full, but that will go away very quickly. And it's just telling you, look, you can drink a bunch of water and not be able to eat anymore. Technically, you're not hungry because your stomach's full. But as soon as your body processes that liquid, your turgid status will go down to hydrated, which is the appropriate level for a well-hydrated person. But your stomach will become empty very quickly. And once that happens, you're going to need to eat something. And calories are a factor in this game. We'll get into that later. But for now, we know how to eat and drink. I don't think that we have any medical supplies on hand. And I also want to start off this episode by by working on our practice menu, which is in the crafting menu. This is, in my mind, once you have secured a source of food and water. a very basic source of food and water, I would immediately do a few practice moves. This is what I consider it quintessential advice. I'm going to hit Shift 7, which opens our crafting menu. And I'm going to tab over to the practice menu. And we can do a few things really quickly that will help our character out a lot. That's telling us right here that it requires 0 athletics to do this, and it cannot raise our athletics above 2. Now it says time to complete 1 hour. Now that's definitely longer time in the experimental branch than it is in the stable 0.g branch, I think. But anyway, I'm going to say I want to practice my athletics. Okay, there we go. And it went by almost immediately. That may have been an hour, in fact. But whatever. We have increased our athletics to 1. I'm going to stop practicing. That's going to help us because it's going to increase our stamina, I believe, or stamina regeneration, one or the other. But I think it does actually fill out the stamina bar more than it was. You can not necessarily go deposit that in the bank right away, but you can look into it. But I know that it has a big effect on your character as opposed to having 0 athletics, that they have 2 or 3 athletics. You're going to notice the difference, definitely. Let's open the crafting menu again. I'm using the tab key. Let's before I hit Shift Tab to go straight to the practice menu, but you can tab over to the practice menu this way. We've got a little updated information here. It's telling us that we have 1 athletics. And that, of course, this practice session can bring it up to 2. It's going to take a little longer. Each level we go up, it's going to take longer. Practice some basic calisthenics. Well, I don't know how much food and water we've got, so I don't want to risk it. We'll cover basic carpentry and carving probably in the next episode, but for now, just know that we can practice our computer skill all the way up to 2 using a smartphone. I think that's good to know too, because we don't need a book, and we don't have to practice, or we don't have to craft anything. We don't have to actually do anything except play with our smartphone. Now the same thing goes with dodge. Here's another pretty good one. You're going to, if you're not all that encumbered, having some dodge is going to be really nice. So let's practice our dodge skill. This is saying, I don't think we need any tools for this first level of dodge. Okay, our proficiency has increased. I'm going to stop practicing. Now, if I look again, I'm going to hit Shift 7 and look at the practice menu. We should have an updated dodge here. Tools required, none. Okay. That's good to know, and I don't think this is like stable 0.g. I think this is a experimental branch thing. My understanding is that it should tell me that I could use a ball to practice my dodge up further. We will have to look into that in the future. So it depends on what version you're playing, but if you know how to read the information on the screen, you're way ahead. So there you go. Find a ball, folks. You want a baseball, basketball, stuff like that, you ought to be able to train your dodge up further just using the practice menu. But anyway, this one is browned out because we can't train our dodge any higher as things stand. Apparently, our melee cannot be trained any higher either, because we already have a melee of 1. But if you have a melee of 0, I highly recommend getting a pipe or a plank or a screwdriver or a stick or whatever that's on this list here. Barbed wire, bat, cutlass, dowel, dory, bronze mace, bowling pin, bone shiv, whatever you can get. Practice your melee up to 1, but apparently we've already got melee 1. We can practice our unarmed skill. Now, this is not something that a normal character... By normal character, I mean like most people play with a character who carries a weapon. But training up unarmed skill can help you if you've got some kind of a karate or something like that. It's going to have certain moves that you can pull off if your unarmed skill is non-zero. It may require unarmed combat of 3 or more or whatever. But we can practice our unarmed skill and pretty rapidly increase our proficiency. Oops, no, I meant to stop practicing. Alright, let's look at our practice menu again. So we're left with, we could practice more athletics. We, for some reason this is still highlighted, even though it can't raise it above 1. That's odd. Whatever. I want to look at where we're at. Okay, we're no longer hungry, or we're no longer full. You see, as we're doing this, we're using calories. And this is the reason that we're teaching the eat and practice menus together. I'm going to go ahead and eat some more salted popcorn. And there we go. Now, see, we're still not full. So let's go ahead and eat one of these protein rations. Your stomach won't be happy. Allergy. Oh. Okay, don't eat the protein ration. Let's check the character sheet. We covered that a couple of episodes back. That's Shift 2, the Empsarand or @ sign. I'm going to scroll over to my traits and have a look. Ah, there it is. This particular character is fructose intolerant. Eating fruits always causes your stomach to ache. It's possible for you to eat them, but you will suffer morale penalties and obtain less nutrition from them. Well, I tell you, this character doesn't need any more morale penalties. He already has. Looking at our proficiencies in bread making and dessert baking, it looks like we're going to have to really get into the food preparation side of things. Because to tell you the truth, let's look at our food supply. I was really counting on these protein rations to carry me through the tutorial, and now I'm going to have to think about finding a food supply. What really frustrates me about this fructose intolerance thing is that I was planning on raising our survival and gathering food at the same time by going into the forest. I'm unsure that that will be possible now. This means that in between episodes, I may be having to break into houses. Oh, there's a mass grave out here. A wasp nest over here. Oh, dear. We're almost having to start playing Cataclysm. You know, I might grab my muscle car, drive down the road, and see what's down the road. See if I can find a way to easily feed this character. The thing about it is, let's get into a generalized concept behind the passage of time. It's 3 p.m. on the first day, so all of these tutorial videos have played out in the space of about 1 day. I need to be thinking about a relatively comfortable place to sleep. It's going to be part of our crafting and building setup, probably. I need to make sure that if I'm going to sit down and read crafting books and do long crafts or spend a whole day practicing and crafting, that I have enough food and water. We're a little low on water, too, by the way. Let's have a look. 2 clean water. So we need to look at water purification in the next episode also. The water purification and low food reserves. Welcome to Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. I guess the facts about the eating menu are going to pretty much constitute this entire episode. Join me again in the next episode for I'm not sure what. Possibly crafting. It depends on how things go between episodes. Thank you for joining me for this one. I'll see you in the next one, or I'll see you in the comments.